Hello everybody, welcome to another adventure with Art Whisper 88. This is plastic sheeting which I bought by the yard from a discount store. I probably paid about $4 to $5 for 2 yards, which is really inexpensive. And I have here my trusty Sharpie pen, and I will make my own stencils. I did a doodle the other day, and I kind of liked it. And I thought to myself, I can make my own stencils instead of relying on something that is store-bought. Now, this might be a challenge to cut, but I'm going to try. And then I can save the cutouts for the small parts. I call these fillers. I tuck them into the small spaces. So you get the idea. So while I am cutting out these little shapes, I'd like to feature some more of my very talented viewers' artwork. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Okay, I finished cutting out my plastic sheet, and so I have here the main stencil, and then I have all these smaller pieces which are the cutouts, which I'm going to save. Okay, so I have all these shapes that I can work with. So now the next step is to lay them out on the plate. Now, what I did with my plate, since I had a little tear in the last video, I oiled my plate and I used a brayer to spread a very thin layer of oil, baby oil, and in half an hour the layer of oil was gone. It got absorbed, and that's my aim. So what the oil does is prevents the paper from sticking. So you have to do this ever so often, and especially for myself, I print a lot, like almost once a week, maybe more. So it's a good idea to condition your plate. So what I'm going to do now, I just keep this protective acetate layer to prevent the plate from sticking to anything when I'm not using it. So I'm going to use my cutting board and ease the stencil like so. Otherwise, it's very hard to put this in place. So I just slide it off like you would slide cookies off a cookie sheet. And then flatten this out. There we go. Now, in the process of using my brayer, usually some paint will seep through, and that can't be helped, but I'll do the best I can. So now I have these shapes, kind of like balloon shapes, and I can arrange them to make a pattern. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is use deeper colors. This is manganese blue and phthalo green and some black. So I'm going to put black on the outer edges, like so. And then follow up with some phthalo green. And some manganese blue. It's in the middle. Okay. So I'm going to use my small brayer and start with the manganese blue. Again, I'm paying attention to the edges. So I want the edges to be nice and crisp. And I'm using the heel, I call this the heel of my brayer, to make lines, just to add some texture. Okay. So now here comes the messy part, where I have to pick the stencils off. Just try my best not to tear this. And I learned the hard way, once you are done, you have to wash this right away, because getting acrylic off plastic is very difficult when it's dry. Okay, I think I got them all. So I will allow this to dry with my ceiling fan, and then I will proceed on to the next step. Somewhat dry. So now I will try to pick up this first layer. I have here azo vermilion. Now I am going to do a split fountain where I blend different colors. Let me get started with the vermilion. Then I'm blending into the Naples yellow. Now the edges, I will use copper. I changed my mind. I'm using raw sienna. I'm using the brayer to kind of even out the layer. And since the first layer is somewhat dry, I think it's safe to use the brayer this way as a blending tool. Now, sometimes the acrylic paint tends to dry inside the tube, especially if you haven't used your paints in a while. Okay, I will add some marks with my silicone tool. I'm going to do a little experiment. I have here a mix of water, and I put in a tablespoon of glycerin, and I'm going to try to moisten the plate and see what happens. Now this time I will use the rough side of the watercolor paper just to introduce some texture. Again, I'm paying attention to the edges and pressing hard on the edges. And I'm very interested to see how the light misting of water is going to affect the pull. I've never done that before, but I noticed the paint was not very wet, was drying too fast. So I hope the misting of the water will make a difference. We shall see. This is an experiment like all the other things that I'm doing. Okay, it's been a few minutes, not quite 5 minutes. So let's see how we made out here. This is exciting. Exciting and scary at the same time. I see what the misting of water did. Give it a very like a pointillist kind of effect. Very interesting. I haven't done this before. I like it. I like the dotted effect. It's another way of introducing texture. There we go. Very cool. So you can see that when I put the stencil on, earlier in the video it was on this side, and the result is a reverse, where I have the large stencil on the right and then all the little fillers and small pieces on the left. Happy with this. I discovered something today. A little spray bottle can do some interesting effects. Okay, so I will air dry this and recap. And in the meantime, here are some more wonderful works of art from my viewers. Okay, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that little intermission with my very talented viewers' artwork. Now, knowing myself, I cannot leave well enough alone, so I assembled my reusable stencils to create a third layer, and I am using iridescent white, and this is actually a brand new tube. There. Which is good because when the paint is brand new, it's very well blended. There are no dry particles. Okay, let's see how this works out. Hopefully this iridescent white will create some contrast. I'm trying to make this as even as possible because the previous layer is very highly textured with the dots. So as a contrast, I'll make this as flat and as even as I can. Okay. Okay, I think I got them all. So here is the print with the second pull. Here's a third layer. I'm pressing really hard because I want this to transfer completely. Okay, I'll leave this on for a few minutes. Give me a chance to wash the stencils. Okay, here's the exciting part. I hope this works out. I think it did. The iridescent layer it just adds a lot of depth. I'm very happy with this result. And this is where prepping and cleaning and oiling the plate pays off big time. How do you like that? I think the iridescent white makes it very striking because the plain flat texture of the white contrast with this pebbled background. So I will air dry this and then I will recap, and in the meantime here are some more very talented viewers. Okay, this has dried very nicely. Let me show you a close-up. You can see how the contrast between the iridescent white and the pebbled background makes it very successful or effective. And I like the very clean, sharp edges that the reusable stencils create. And this is also in part to my oiling and cleaning the plate. It makes spreading the acrylic paint very easy. I hope you had as much fun watching this as I had making this print. And I hope you enjoyed viewing the contributions of my viewers from all over the globe. I'm really blown away. And thank you so much for watching and subscribing. And for all you viewers who have artwork, if you'd like to submit your photos, please do so. Send it to fulton@fultonartdesign.com. I'll have the email on your screen so you can send it to me. Please don't be disappointed if it doesn't get shown right away, because there are so many people submitting their photos and I have to sort them and make sure that I get your names correctly. And if you'd like, put your city, state, or country so the rest of our viewers will know where you are. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.